Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to lesson 2 in our series of learning how to read Devanāgarī. In this lesson, we will cover a few more vowels in the Devanāgarī alphabet. But before we cover the new material, let's review some of the vowels that we learned in the last lesson. In lesson 1, we learned 6 simple vowels. They are a, e, u. The and are guttural vowels, meaning that these are vowels that come from the throat. E are palate-based vowels, since it does use some of the palate to be able to produce a sound correctly. And u, which are labial vowels, or vowels that require the lips to be able to produce these sounds correctly. Make sure you can recognize these letters, and make sure you can write these letters very well before moving on to the new vowels that we will learn in this lesson. So once again, these are the vowels of the Devanāgarī alphabet. Remember, there are 13 vowels. We already covered 6 of them, and we're going to cover 3 in this lesson. So the first vowel we're going to cover is the vowel that is transcribed as R dot. Now, how do we pronounce this letter? I will admit that the pronunciation for this letter is very tricky, because the true pronunciation of this letter has been lost through time. It is a retroflex vowel. So before I define what a retroflex vowel is, first I need to define what retroflex is. You'll hear me use the term retroflex multiple times in this course, so let me familiarize what retroflex is. Retroflex, also known as cerebral, is basically any letter that requires you to curl your tongue back to touch the roof of your mouth. So for example, in English, if you were to say dim, notice that you take your tongue and you touch it to the roof of your mouth to get the D sound. Dim. When you say stop, the T in stop is less aspirated. You don't use as much force in the T in stop. So the T sound in stop is also a retroflex letter. Likewise, this is a retroflex vowel. Now, you probably are watching this and you're wondering, why is this a vowel? Isn't the letter R a consonant? And the fact of the matter is, it can be either or. Okay, if you look at the phonetics of the letter R, it can be either a consonant or a vowel. And I'm going to give you 2 examples to prove the point. Now, you have to think of English spoken with an accent to be able to understand this a little bit better. If you spell the letters R-U-N, if you were to say this with an accent, it'll be probably pronounced as run, run, run. When you say run, the R is actually touching the roof of the mouth, so you get the R sound, run, run. However, if you were to say better, B-E-T-T-E-R, okay, the R is not directly touching the roof. So if I were to say better, if I were to extend that vowel as long as I can, again, as I mentioned in the last video, people may not know what the first syllable was, but they'll definitely hear the sound. So that acts as a self-sustaining sound. I am not indicating that that may be the true pronunciation of this letter, because I said this true pronunciation of this letter has been lost through time, but it is somewhere in between a ri and a ru sound. For this reason, in North India, like when you have languages like Hindi and Bengali, they tend to pronounce this letter as ri. So K-R.S.N.A is pronounced as Krishna. R.S.I is pronounced as Rishi. V.R.N.D.A is pronounced as Vrinda. However, in South India, in addition to some languages in North India such as Gujarati, Marathi, and Oriya, K.R.S.N.A is pronounced as Krishna, because this letter is pronounced as Ru. R.S.I is pronounced as Rushi, and V.R.N.D.A is pronounced as Vrunda. Now, as far as how Sanskrit teachers may teach this, they may actually try to pronounce this like a true vowel. So the first example, instead of saying Krishna or Krishna, they'll pronounce this Krishna, Krishna. Instead of Rishi or Rushi, they'll pronounce it as Rishi, Rishi. And instead of vrinda or vrunda, they'll pronounce that as runda, runda. Try to get as much of a vowel sound as possible. So sometimes you may inadvertently hear me use the various pronunciations, but please do bear in mind, ri and ru are not the correct pronunciation. They are local approximates that people use to pronounce this letter. So that is enough about the pronunciation of this letter. Now let's go about writing it. So how do we write the letter r? First thing that we do is we make a backwards shaped K in Roman script. And with the K on top of the vertical line, we draw a horizontal bar. Next, we take the lower leg of the K and we stick it upright and make a little loop going down. And finally, we add a little C shape to it. And that is how we write the letter R. R. The next letter is a long version of this letter. Again, because it's a long vowel, it takes 2 units of time, whereas the short vowels only take 1 unit of time. This letter is believed to be pronounced as R. R. Again, if you're in North India, this will be pronounced as Ri. And if you're in South India, or if you speak Gujarati, Marathi, Odia, this will be pronounced as Ru. Ru. So how do we write this letter? Well, you'll notice that this is no different from the letter R, but instead of one C shape to the right, instead of one little hook shape to the right, you add a second hook shape right beneath it. So the left R has only one hook shape. The R, the longer version of this vowel, has 2 hook shapes. And just to emphasize, both R and R originate from the roof of the palate. These are retroflex vowels, also known as cerebral vowels. And as if those 2 letters weren't difficult enough, now we come to the third tricky letter. In fact, I have to say this is the trickiest letter in terms of pronunciation. This letter is denoted with an L with a dot beneath it. And why is this tricky? Because its true pronunciation has been lost through time. As if that's not enough, this vowel is extremely rare. It is so rare that I only know one word in Sanskrit, in the entire Sanskrit language, that uses this letter. And the word is denoted with K L dot P T A. Now, there are several different opinions as far as how this pronunciation should be. Just like how I used earlier with the example of B-U-T-T-E-R, you say butter. Again, someone can walk into the room. They may not know what first syllable you said, but they can definitely hear the sound, so they know it's some kind of R-based vowel sound. Likewise, if you were to say table, T-A-B-L-E, if I were to extend the last syllable out as long as I can, if I were to say table, okay, that O sound acts like a vowel. So therefore, someone can come into the room. They may not know what first syllable I said, but they'll hear the O sound. So they'll know that's some kind of L-based vowel. This is what that functions as. However, again, the true pronunciation of this letter has been lost, so I don't know what the exact pronunciation is, but I would believe it would be something similar to that with no direct contact with any part of the mouth. So how do people pronounce this? In North India, they'll pronounce this letter as Lri. So you'll hear this word KL.PTA pronounced as Klipta. If you're in South India, or if you speak Gujarati, Marathi, Odia, they'll pronounce this as Lru. So this word be pronounced as Klupta. Specifically in Bengali, I know they pronounce this letter as Li. So if they were to read this, they'll read this Klipto. And one more pronunciation style I've heard from Sanskrit teachers, when they teach Sanskrit, they'll actually teach this letter as L, L. So they'll read it as Klupta, Klupta. However, that's all I'm going to say about the pronunciation because, again, this is an extremely rare vowel. The chances of you ever coming upon this, in my humble opinion, would be pretty much none. Because this is only used once, and in all classic Sanskrit literature I've read, this letter never came up. So, but because I do want to teach you the alphabet, I do want to teach you the letter. So how do you write this letter L? So what you do is you make a heart-shaped figure, but you don't connect the two lines of the heart to form the apex point, the bottom point of the heart. On the right lobe of the heart, you're going to draw a short vertical line, and you're going to meet it with a horizontal crossbar. Finally, what you're going to do is you're going to take the right line of the heart, and you're going to swing it out to the right to form a nice little hook shape. And that is how you write this letter, L. Most Sanskrit teachers agree that there are 13 vowels in the Devanāgarī alphabet. However, there are some Sanskrit teachers who have the philosophy that every short, simple vowel needs a long corresponding vowel to it. Just like A has A, E has E, U has U, R has R. Therefore, they should believe that L should have L. However, this is not the case. This does not have a long vowel corresponding to it. However, some Sanskrit teachers do teach this as a vowel. So if you do take a course that requires you to learn this vowel, this is how you draw the long version of L. It's basically the same shape as the short version, except you have an extra hook to the bottom where you draw the first hook. Okay, notice the similarity with the R letter, the R dot, and the R dot, the long R dot vowel. You'll see that there's one hook for the short and two hooks for the long. Likewise, the L letter, you have one hook for the short and two hooks for the long. Again, like I said, most people will not show you this vowel, but if you do have a course that requires you to learn this vowel, this is what it looks like. I have not seen any single word in Sanskrit to even be able to provide an example where this letter is used. So that's all I'm going to say about that. So now we're going to review these three tricky letters. Again, they're only tricky in terms of pronunciation. You have R, R, and L. Again, if you wish to use North Indian pronunciation, you're more than welcome to do so. It would be pronounced as Ri, Ri, and Lri or Li if you're learning Bengali, and Ru, Ru, and Lru. If you're from South India, if you speak Gujarati, Marathi, or Odia, you may hear this pronunciation. Just as a quick disclaimer, I may end up using one of the three styles of pronouncing this letter. You may either hear me say Krishna, Krishna, or the vowel attempt, Krishna, Vrunda. So just to let you know, I don't want you to be confused. This is what I may pronounce these letters as. So again, here are the total of 9 vowels that we've learned, both in episodes 1 and 2. A, I, U, U, R, and Lr. Now this is the simple vowels. In the next lesson, lesson 3, we're going to discuss diphthongs, which are a combination of these two vowels to produce a unique vowel sound that acts as its own syllable. There are 4 diphthongs in the Sanskrit alphabet that we'll learn in lesson 3. So I look forward to meeting you then. If you have any questions, please comment below. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna and all glories to Srila Prabhupada.